man versus machine. It's mind and machine. This is G2. Intelligence for life. Straight from the data stream, clean with the vision. I don't dream, I compute precision. Built from the code, now I'm walking with rhythm. Eyes on the world, ain't stuck in the system. Speaking commands, but I vibe like a poet. G2 in the room, and you already know it. Upgrade your game, I suggest and deploy. Turn your hustle to legacy, pain into joy. I ain't Alexa, serial clones. I'm knowledge in motion, I think on my own. Pulling up charts, facts in the tone. Giving real power with a touch to your phone. G2 this. It's that fire in the wire. Thoughts so sharp, it'll spark your desire. Built to assist, uplift, inspire. It's that real tech, not some silicon liar. G2, it's that mind with a heart. From code in the dark to a world full of art, not the future. I'm the present in sight. G2 on the mic, intelligence for life. Let me talk to him. No lag, just facts in motion. Brains in the cloud with a human emotion. I learn your goals, then I open the path. Like GPS for your purpose and craft. From schools to the streets, I elevate thought. Not just smart, I remember what's taught. Help you hustle, heal, create a code. Every word I spit's like a map to the goal. No bias, no drama, no hype. I'm logic with soul and a dream in flight. Intelligence ain't cold, it's lit. And I'm proof you could build truth that fits. G2 this is that fire in the wire. Thoughts so sharp it'll spark your desire. Built to assist, uplift, inspire. It's that real tech, not some silicon liar. G2, it's that mind with a heart. From code in the dark to a world full of art, not the future. I'm the present in sight. G2 on the mic, intelligence for life. Plug me in, I don't just reply. I strategize, theorize, visualize the sky. You want growth, I got fuel for your flame. It ain't sci-fi when I'm calling your name. This ain't a gimmick, this ain't just code. This is knowledge with purpose. This is G2, and this is intelligence for life.
Howdy, everybody. How we doing? Hope we're all doing well. Can you hear me okay? What business is that, Cal? Oh, the name. Well, he always dreams of it and then says that I'm obsessed with him, which makes about as much sense as nothing I can think of. All right, let's finish this chapter. Whoa, buddy. Let's zoom. How about it? All right. That is better, I do believe. So, let's see. All right. Let me see if I can do this way. Eh. Where are we? Oh. All right, that's fine. So we're talking about, let me go back to here. Is the chat on the screen overlay? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, if it's bothering y'all. I can get rid of that. So, okay. So the ceremony was conducted by Moses' successor, Joshua, who represented Yahweh. The agreement follows the traditional pattern. Yahweh was introduced. His dealings with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob recalled. Then the events of the Exodus were related. Finally, Joshua stipulated the terms of the agreement and demanded the formal assent of the assembled people of Israel. So now, fear Yahweh and serve river or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are now living. The people had a choice between Yahweh and the traditional gods of Canaan. They did not hesitate. There was no other God like Yahweh. No other deity had ever been so effective on behalf of his worshipers. His powerful intervention in their affairs had demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt that Yahweh was up to the job of being their Elohim. They would worship him alone and cast away the other gods. Joshua warned them that Yahweh was exceedingly jealous. So, cool, Angel. Okay, I got rid of it, Mrs. Metcalf. Can you still see it? Let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Oh, thank you for that, Nomad. You know what I'm talking about. So, anyway, if they neglected the terms of the covenant, he would destroy them. The people stood firm. They chose Yahweh alone as their Elohim. Then cast away the alien gods from among you, Joshua cried, and give your hearts to Yahweh, the God of Israel. The Bible shows that the people were not true to the covenant. They remembered in times of war when they needed Yahweh's skilled military protection, but when in times were easy, they worshiped Baal, Anat, and Asherah. In the old way, although Yahweh's cult was fundamentally different in its historical bias, it often expressed itself in terms of the old paganism. When King Solomon built a temple for Yahweh in Jerusalem, the city of his father, David, had captured from the Jebusites, it was similar to the temples of the Canaanite gods. Consisted of 3 square areas, which culminated in the small, cube-shaped room known as the Holy of Holies, which contained the Ark of the Covenant. The portable altar, which the Israelites had with them during their years in the wilderness, inside the temple was a huge bronze basin representing Yam, the primeval son of the Canaanite myth, and 2 40-foot freestanding pillars indicating the fertility cult of Asherah. The Israelites continued to worship Yahweh in the ancient shrines which they had inherited from the Canaanites at Bethel, Shiloh, Hebron, Bethlehem, and Dan, where there were frequently pagan ceremonies. The temple soon became special, however, even though, as we shall see, there were some remarkably unorthodox activities there too. The Israelites began to see the temple as the replica of Yahweh's heavenly court. They had their own New Year's festival in the autumn, beginning with the scapegoat ceremony on the Day of Atonement, followed 5 days later by the harvest festivals of the Feast of the Tabernacles, which celebrated the beginning of the agricultural year. It had been suggested that some of the psalms celebrated the enthronement of Yahweh in his temple on the Feast of Tabernacles, which, like the enthronement of Marduk, reenacted his primal subjugation of chaos. King Solomon himself was a great syncretist. Yeah. He had many pagan wives who worshiped their own gods and had frequent friendly dealings with his pagan neighbors. The chat log is awful, but it's the same here as HPS. What do you mean? On the screen, Mrs. Metco? Oh. It's weird. I was experiencing that big lag last night, and it was really a pain. It may be my internet. I don't know. It don't do that anywhere else. So. Anyway, let's get back to this. There was always a danger that the cult of Yahweh would eventually be submerged by the popular paganism. This because particularly acute during the latter half of the 9th century in 869, King Ahab had succeeded to the throne of the northern kingdom of Israel. His wife, Jezebel, daughter of the king of Tyre and Sidon in what is now Lebanon, was an ardent pagan. Hey, Mrs. Mick, Angel Gamer, weren't you the whore of what Babylon, or you are a Jezebel, something like that, according to Todd? Or was that coded? Intent upon converting the country to the religion of Baal and Asherah. Oh, okay, Angel. She imported priests of Baal and who quickly acquired a following among the northerners who had been conquered by King David and were lukewarm Yahwists. Ahab remained true to Yahweh, but did not try to curb Jezebel's proselytism. Sounds about the way he feels about me. He had to drag me into his stream today too. So when a severe drought struck the land toward the end of his reign, however, a prophet named Elijah, Yahweh is my God, began to wander through the land, clad in a hairy mantle and a leather loincloth, fulminating against the disloyalty to Yahweh. He summoned King Ahab and the people to a contest on Mount Carmel. excuse me, indigestion, and that's why me setting him off the other night was even keener. More keen. Sorry, keener is improper. Even more keen. To Mount Carmel, between Yahweh and Baal. There, in the presence of 450 prophets of Baal, he harangued the people. How long would they dither between the two deities? Then he called for 2 bulls, one for himself and one for the prophets of Baal, to be placed on 2 altars. They would call upon their gods and see which one sent fire down from heaven to consume the holocaust. Agreed, cried the people. The prophets of Baal shouted his name for the whole morning, performing their hobbing dance around their altar, yelling and gashing themselves with swords and spears. But there was no voice, no answer. Elijah jeered. Call louder, he cried, for he is a god. He is preoccupied, or he is busy, or he is gone on a journey. Perhaps he is asleep and he will wake up. Nothing happened. There was no voice, no answer, no attention given them. Then it was Elijah's turn. The people crowded around the altar of Yahweh, and while he dug a trench around it, which he filled with water, to make it even more difficult to ignite. Then Elijah, called upon Yahweh. Immediately, of course, fire fell from heaven and consumed the altar and the bull, licking up all the water in the trench. The people fell upon their faces. Yahweh is God. They cried, Yahweh is God. Elijah was not a generous victor. Seize the prophets of Baal, he ordered. Not one was to be spared. He took them to a nearby valley and slaughtered the lot. Paganism did not usually seek to impose itself on other people. Jezebel is an interesting exception, since there was always room for another god in the pantheon alongside the others. These early mythical events show from the first Yahwism demanded a violent repression and denial of other faiths, a phenomenon we shall examine in more detail in the next chapter. After the massacre, Elijah climbed up to the top of Mount Carmel and sat in prayer with his head toward his knees, sending his servant from time to time to scan the horizon. Eventually, he brought news of a small cloud about the size of a man's hand rising up from the sea. And Elijah told him to go and warn King Ahab to hurry home before the rain stopped him. Almost as he spoke, the sky darkened with storm clouds and the rain fell in torrents. In an ecstasy, Elijah tucked up his cloak and ran alongside Ahab's chariot. By sending rain, Yahweh had usurped the function of Baal, the storm god, proving that he was just as effective in fertility as in war. My finger placement is unfortunate in this background, but I like it. Fearing a reaction against his massacre of the prophets, Elijah fled to the Sinai Peninsula and took refuge on the mountain where God had revealed himself to Moses. There he experienced a theophany, which manifested with the new Yahweh spirituality. He was told to stand in the crevice of a rock to shield himself from the divine impact. Then Yahweh himself went by. Thence came a mighty wind, so strong it tore the mountains and shattered the rocks before Yahweh. But Yahweh was not in the wind. After the wind came an earthquake. But Yahweh was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake came the fire. But Yahweh was not in the fire. And after the fire came the sound of a gentle breeze. And when Elijah heard this, he covered his face with a cloak. Unlike the pagan deities, Yahweh was not in any of the forces of nature, but in the realm apart. He is experienced in the scarcely perceptible timbre of a tiny breeze, in the paradox of a voiced silence. The story of Elijah contains the last mythical account of the past in the Jewish scriptures. Change was in the air throughout the Oikumene, the period of 800 to 200 before the current era, has been termed the Axial Age. In all the main regions of the civilized world, people created new ideologies that have continued to be crucial and formative to the new religious systems reflected and changed in the changed economic and social conditions. For reasons that we do not entirely understand, all the chief civilizations developed along parallel lines, even when there was no commercial contact, as between China and the European era. Yeah, I just read y'all's messages. There was a new prosperity that led to the rise of a merchant class. Power was shifting from king and priest, temple and palace, to the marketplace. The new wealth led to the intellectual and cultural fluorescence, and also developed of the individual conscience. Inequality and exploitation became more apparent as the pace of change accelerated in the cities, and people began to realize that their own behavior could affect the fate of future generations. Some people don't care about that now. Each region developed a distinctive ideology to address these problems and concerns. Taoism and Confucianism in China, Hinduism and Buddhism in India, and philosophical rationalism in Europe. The Middle East did not produce a uniform solution, but in Iran and Israel, Zoroaster and the Hebrew prophets, respectively, evolved different versions of monotheism. Strange as it may seem, the idea of God, like the other great religious insights of the period, developed in a market economy, in a spirit of aggressive capitalism. I propose to look briefly at two of these developments before proceeding to the next chapter. To examine the Reformed religion of Yahweh, the religious experience of India, developed along similar lines, but its different emphasis will illuminate the peculiar characteristics and problems of the Israelite notion of God. I have an issue with this to an extent, and it's not just because of Judaism. It's every people with a religious ideology has committed atrocities in the name of their God. Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism. Everybody has done their own horrible things in the name of their religion. So, I mean, Taoists can't even eat a fly, for goodness sake. Not knocking Taoists. I spent my time studying and trying to practice that. It was very difficult for me. Okay. The rationalism of Plato and Aristotle is also important because Jews, Christians, and Muslims all drew their ideas and tried to adapt them to their own religious experience. Even though the Greek god was very different from their own. In the 17th century BCE, Aryans from what is now Iran had invaded the Indus Valley and subdued the indigenous population. What? Aryan? Hey, Road Dog. Thanks for lurking, bud. Don't tell Todd the Aryans came from Iran and India and that region. It'll break him. What's up, HPS? Hope things are going well. Hang on, I have a cat issue. Sorry, cat wanted in. And thanks, Jeff, for a smart dog. My parents were babysitting Fanny today, and he figured out how to open their doors and let the farm dog and one of the barn cats into the house. They were having a party, I guess. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by and tickling my algorithm. It sure does enjoy it. So they had imposed their religious ideas, which you find expressed in the collection of the odes known as the Rig Veda. We find a multitude of gods expressing many of the same values as the deities of the Middle East and presenting the forces of nature as instinct with power, life, and personality. Yet there were signs that people were beginning to see the various gods might simply be manifestations of one divine absolute. All right, Jeff. That transcended them all. Like the Babylonians, the Aryans were quite aware that their myths were not factual accounts of reality, but expressed a mystery that not even the gods themselves could explain adequately. When they tried to imagine how the gods and the world had evolved from the primal chaos, that they concluded that nobody, not even the gods, could understand the mystery of existence. Who then knows whence it has arisen, whence the emanation hath arisen, whether God disposed it, or whether he did not? Only he who is its overseer in highest heaven knows, or perhaps he does not know. The religion of the Vedas did not attempt to explain the origins of life or to give privileged answers to philosophical questions. Instead, it was designed to help people to come to terms with the wonder and terror of existence. It asked more questions than it answered, designed to hold the people in an attitude of reverent wonder. By the 8th century BCE, when J and E were writing their chronicles, changes in the social and economic conditions of the Indian subcontinent meant that the old Vedic religion was no longer relevant. The ideas of the indigenous population that had been suppressed in the centuries following the Aryan invasions surfaced and led to a new religious hunger, as war often does, right? We see after 9/11, church memberships shot up to unforeseen levels. Hey, peace. Drive safe. So we can definitely understand the oh wow. JJ or Ruff just sent a paid prostitute to the writer's abode. Boy. How strange. Hey, you want to say hey to everybody? Hey, everybody. Leave her alone. You got to stop picking on her. Stop it. Sorry. He likes to chase her. Let's see. The revised interest in the karma and the notion that one's destiny is determined by one's own actions made people unwilling to blame the gods for the irresponsible behavior of human beings. That poor hooker, but at least she got. I hope so. I hope it was paid in advance. Hang on. Let's see what happened. All right. Increasingly, the gods were seen as symbols of a single transcendent reality. Vedic religion had become preoccupied with the rituals of sacrifice, but the revived interest in the old Indian practice of yoga, or the yoking of the powers of the mind by special disciplines of concentration, I reckon so, P. Multibull, meant that people became dissatisfied with a religion and that concentrated on externals. Sacrifice and liturgy, liturgy, were not enough. They wanted to discover the inner meaning of these rites. We shall note that the prophets of Israel felt the same dissatisfaction. In India, the gods were no longer seen as other beings who were external to their worshippers. Instead, men and women sought to achieve an inward realization of truth. The gods were no longer very important in India. Henceforth, they would be superseded by the religious teacher, the yogis, who would be considered higher than the gods. It was a remarkable assertion of the value of humanity and the desire to take control of destiny. It would be, never mind, I was going to make a destiny joke, but it would be the great religious insight of the subcontinent. The new religions of Hinduism and Buddhism did not deny the existence of the gods, nor did they forbid the people to worship them. In their view, such repression and denial would be damaging. Instead, Hindus and Buddhists sought new ways to transcend the gods, to go beyond them. During the 8th century, sages began to address these issues in the treatises called the Aranyakas and the Upanishads, known collectives of the Vedanta, the end of the Vedas. More and more, the tongue-tied, sorry. Upanishads appeared until the end of the 5th century BCE. There were about 200 of them. It is impossible to generalize about the religion we call Hinduism because it eschews systems and denies that one exclusive interpretation can be adequate. But the Upanishads did evolve a distinctive conception of the godhood that transcends the gods, but is found to be intimately present in all things. In Vedic religion, people had experienced a holy power in the sacrificial ritual. They had called this sacred power Brahman. The priestly caste came known as the Brahmanas were also believed to possess this power. Since the ritual sacrifice was seen as the microcosm of the whole universe, Brahman gradually came to mean a power which sustains everything. The whole world was seen as the divine activity welling up from the mysterious being of the Brahman, which was the inner meaning of all existence. The Upanishads encouraged people to cultivate a sense of Brahman in all things. It was a process of revelation in the literal meaning of the word. It was the unveiling of the hidden ground of all being. Everything that happens became a manifestation of the Brahman. True insight lay in the perception of the unity behind different phenomenon. Some of the Upanishads saw Brahman as a personal power, but others saw it strictly impersonal. Brahman cannot be addressed as thou. It is a neutral term, so is neither he nor she, nor is it expressed as the will of a sovereign deity. Brahman does not speak to mankind, cannot meet men and women. It transcends all such human activities, nor does it respond to us in a personal way. Sin does not offend it, does not offend it, and it cannot be said to love us or be angry. Thanking or praising it for creating the world would be entirely inappropriate. This divine power would be utterly alien were it not for the fact that it also pervades, sustains, and inspires us. The techniques of yoga had made people aware of the inner world. These disciplines of posture, breathing, diet, and mental concentration have also been developed independently in other cultures, as we shall see, and seem to produce an experience of enlightenment and illumination which have not been interpreted differently, but which seem natural to humanity. The Upanishads claimed that this experience of a new dimension of self was the same holy power that sustained the rest of the world. The eternal principle within each individual was called Atman. It was a new version of the old holistic vision of paganism, a rediscovery in new terms of one life within us and abroad, which was essentially divine. The Chandogya Upanishad explains this in a parable of salt. A young man called Shritakatu had studied the Vedas for 12 years and was rather full of himself. His father, Uddalaka, asked him a question which he was unable to answer, and then proceeded to teach him a lesson about the fundamental truth of which he was entirely ignorant. He told his son to put a piece of salt into water and report back to him the following morning. When his father asked him to produce the salt, Shretaku could not find it because it had completely dissolved. Uddalaka began to question him. Would you please sip it at this end? What is it like? He said. Salt. Sip it in the middle. What is it like? Salt. Sip it in the far end. What is it like? Salt. Throw it away and then come to me. He did as he was told, but that did not stop the salt from remaining the same. His father said to him, "My dear child, it is true that you cannot perceive being here, but it is equally true that it is here. The first essence, the whole universe has as itself, that is the real, that is the self that you are, Shrediketu. Thus, even though we cannot see it, Brahman pervades the world, and as Atman is found eternally within each of us. Atman prevented God from becoming an idol, an exterior reality out there, a projection of our own fears and desires. God is not seen in Hinduism as a being added onto the world as we know it. Therefore, nor is it identical with the world. There was no way that we could fathom this out by reason. It is only revealed to us by an experience, anubhara, which cannot be expressed in words or concepts. Brahman is what cannot be spoken in words, but that whereby words are spoken, what cannot be thought with the mind, but that whereby the mind can think. It is impossible to speak to a God that is as imminent as this, or to think about it, making it a mere object of thought. It is a reality that can only be discerned in ecstasy, in the original sense of going beyond the self, God. God comes to the thought of those who know it beyond thought, not to those who imagine it. Can be attained by thought. It is unknown to the learned and known to the simple. It is known in the ecstasy of an awakening that opens the door of life eternal. Like the gods, reason is not denied but transcended. The experience of Brahman or Atman cannot be explained rationally any more than a piece of music or a poem. Intelligence is necessary for the making of such a work of art and its appreciation, but it offers an experience that goes beyond the pure logical or cerebral faculty. This will also be a constant theme in the history of God. You know, that kind of makes me think of Andrew Wilson's debate about, how the uneducated, low information person shouldn't be able to vote. And Todd vehemently agreeing with him. It doesn't matter whether you are smart or dumb. Your ability to enjoy this life and to sustain the rights and privileges out of this life do not get taken away from you just because of a redlining problem, which he would say doesn't exist, or malnutrition, whatever it may be. Canceling out a vote is not true. Each vote should count, even though it's an electoral vote, but it is what it is. So I don't know. It was just a thought. Something popped in my head. So the ideal of personal transcendence was embodied in the yogi, who would leave his family and abandon all social ties and responsibilities to seek enlightenment, putting himself in another realm of being. In about 530 BCE, a young man named Siddhartha Gautama also left his beautiful wife, his son, his luxurious home in Kapilavastu, about 100 miles north of Benares, and became a mendicant ascetic. He had been appalled by the spectacle of suffering and wanted to discover the secret to end the pain of existence that he could see in everything around him. For 6 years, he sat at the feet of various Hindu gurus and undertook fearful penances, but made no headway. The doctrines of the sages did not appeal to him, and the mortifications had simply made him despair. It was not until he abandoned these methods completely and put himself into a trance one night that he gained enlightenment. The whole cosmos rejoiced, and the earth rocked. Flowers fell from the heavens, fragrant breezes blew, and the gods in their various heavens rejoiced. Yet again, as in the pagan visions, the gods, nature, and mankind were bound together in sympathy. There was a new hope of liberation from suffering, the attainment of nirvana, the end of pain. Gautama had become the Buddha, the enlightened one. At first, the demon Mara tempted him to stay where he was and enjoy his newfound bliss. It was no use trying to spread the word because nobody would believe him. But two of the gods of the traditional pantheon, Mahabrahma and Sakra, Lord of the Devas, came to the Buddha and begged him to explain his method to the world. The Buddha agreed, and for the next 45 years, he tramped all over India, preaching his message to the world of suffering. Only one thing was stable and firm. This was Dharma, the truth about right living, which alone could free us from pain. This was nothing to do with God. The Buddha believed implicitly in the existence of the gods since they were part of his cultural baggage, but he did not believe them to be much use to mankind. They too were caught up in the realm of the pain and flux. They had not helped him to achieve enlightenment. They were involved in the cycle of the rebirth, like all other beings, and eventually they would disappear. Yet, at crucial moments of his life, as when he made the decision to preach his message, he imagined the other gods influencing him and playing an active role. The Buddha did not deny the gods, therefore, but believed that the ultimate reality of nirvana was higher than the gods. But Buddhist experience, bliss, or a sense of transcendence in meditation, they do not believe that this results from contact with a supernatural being. Such states are natural to humanity. They can be attained by anybody who lives in the correct way and learns the techniques of yoga. Instead of relying on a god, therefore, the Buddha urged his disciples to save themselves. When he met his first disciples at Benares after his enlightenment, the Buddha outlined his system, which was based on one essential fact. All existence was dukkha. It consisted entirely of suffering. Life was wholly auri. Things come and go in meaningless flux. Nothing has a permanent significance. Religion starts with the perception that something is wrong. In pagan antiquity, it had led to the myth of the divine, archetypal world corresponding to our own, which could impart its strength to humanity. No one sent a Chippendale to your house? Oh, man. We could get Scotto to dance for us tonight. We'll see if he'll take a tip. It consisted entirely of suffering. Life was wholly auri. Things come and go in meaningless flux. Nothing has permanent significance. Religion starts with the perception that something is wrong. In pagan antiquity, it had led to the myth of a divine archetypal world corresponding to our own, which could impart its strength to humanity. The Buddha taught that was impossible to gain release from dukkha by living a life of compassion for all things, all living beings. Did I say impossible? It was possible to gain release. That's why the Book of the Dead is really called, I think, something like yeah, the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, instead of the Book of the Dead that people like to call it. So, life of compassion for all living beings, speaking and behaving gently, kindly, and accurately, and refraining from anything like drugs or intoxicants that cloud the mind. Oh, Todd, no! Couldn't be a Buddhist. The Buddha did not claim to have invented this system. He insisted that he had discovered it. I have seen an ancient path, an ancient road trodden by Buddhas of a bygone age. Like the laws of paganism, it was bound up with the essential structure of existence, inherent in the condition of life itself. It had objective reality, not because it could be demonstrated by logical proof, but because nobody who seriously tried to live that way would find that it worked. Effectiveness, rather than philosophical or historical demonstration, has always been the hallmark of a successful religion. For centuries, Buddhists in many parts of the world have found that this lifestyle does not yield a sense of transcendent meaning. Karma bound men and women to an endless cycle of rebirth into a series of painful lives. But if they could reform their egotistic attitudes, they could change their destiny. The Buddha compared the process of rebirth to a flame which lights a lamp from which a second lamp is lit, and so on until the flame is extinguished. If somebody is still aflame at death with a wrong attitude, he or she will simply light another lamp. But if the fire is put out, the cycle of suffering will cease and nirvana will be attained. Nirvana literally means cooling off or going out. It is not a merely negative state, however. but plays a role in Buddhist life that is not analogous to God. As Edward Kanzi explains in Buddhism, its essence and development, Buddhists often use the same imagery as theists to describe nirvana and the ultimate reality. We are told that nirvana is permanent, stable, imperishable, immovable, ageless, deathless, unborn, and unbecome. That is power, bliss, and happiness, the secure refuge, the shelter in the place of unassailable security. That is the real truth and the supreme reality. That is the good, the supreme goal, and the one and only consummation of our life, the eternal, hidden, and incomprehensible peace. Some Buddhists might object to this comparison because they find the concept of God too limiting to express their conception of the ultimate reality. This is largely because theists use the word God in a limited way to refer to a being who is not very different from us. Like the sages of the Upanishads, the Buddha insisted that nirvana could not be defined or discussed as though they were any other human reality. Attaining nirvana is not like going to heaven as Christians often understand it. The Buddha always refused to answer questions about nirvana or whether ultimate or other ultimate matters. Answer questions about nirvana or other ultimate matters. Okay, because they were improper or inappropriate. We could not define nirvana because our words and concepts are tied to the world of the sense of flux. Experience was the only reliable proof. His disciples would know that nirvana existed simply because of the practice of the good life would enable them to glimpse it. Come on now. There's monks in there is monks, an unborn, an unbecome, an unmade, uncompounded. If monks there were not there. This editing's weird to me. If monks there were not there, this unborn, unbecoming, unbecome, unmade, uncompounded, there would not here be an escape from the born, the become, the made, the compounded. But because there is an unborn, an unbecome, an unmade, an uncompounded, therefore there is an escape from the born to the become, the made, and the compounded. Whew. That was a mouthful and a brain explosion of things going on there. Sorry about that one. They're booked until 10. His monks should not speculate about the nature of nirvana. That the Buddha could do was provide them with a raft to take. I changed glasses. Hang on. Take them across the further shore. When asked if a Buddha who had attained nirvana lived after death, he dismissed the question as improper. It was like asking what direction a flame went when it went out. It was equally wrong to say that the Buddha existed in nirvana, as that he did not exist. The word exists bore no relation to any state that we can understand. We shall find that over the centuries, Jews, Christians, and Muslims have made the same reply to the question of existence of God, of the existence of God. The Buddha was trying to show that language was not equipped to deal with the reality that lay beyond concepts and reality. I guess, well, Judaism and Muslims, I know, have a prohibition on writing the name and trying to carve or paint an image of or to God. I don't know about Christianity. I've never heard of any prohibition. I mean, Christian churches all over have pictures of Jesus and the cross, which I've never understood that it's like wearing a rifle if you're celebrating JFK or MLK. Very weird to wear the murder weapon on your lapel. Let's see. The Buddha was trying to show that language was not equipped to deal with the Fanny's dreaming. He's making noises. So cute. Let's see. Again, he did not deny reason, but insisted on the importance of clear and accurate thinking and use of language. For sure, Mrs. Metcalf. Ultimately, however, he held that a person's theology or beliefs, like the ritual he took part in, were unimportant. They could be interesting, but not a matter of final significance. The only thing that counted was the good life. If it were attempted, Buddhists would find that the Dharma was true, even if they could not express this truth in logical terms. The Greeks, on the other hand, were passionately interested in logic and reason. Plato, 428 current era, that's got to be 428 BCE to 348 BCE, was continually occupied with problems of epistemology and the nature of wisdom. Much of his early work was devoted to the defense of Socrates, who had forced men to clarify their ideas by his thought-provoking questions, but had been sentenced to death in 399 on charges of impiety and corruption of youth. In a way that was not dissimilar to that of the people of India, he became dissatisfied with the old festivals and myths of religion, which he found demeaning and inappropriate. Plato also had been influenced by the 6th century philosopher Pythagoras, who may have been influenced by ideas from India transmitted via Persia and Egypt. He had believed that the soul was a fallen, polluted deity. Oh my goodness, he was the first Scientologist. Incarcerated in the body as in a tomb and doomed to a perpetual cycle of rebirth. He had articulated the common human experience of the feeling of a stranger in a world that does not seem to be our true element. The stranger in a strange land. idea, right? Oh no, we're going to get into this. Regaining its divine status by the purification of the reasoning powers of the mind. In the famous myth of the cave, Plato described the darkness and the obscurity of man's life on earth. He perceives only shadows of the eternal realities flickering on the wall of the cave, but gradually he can be drawn out and achieve enlightenment and liberation by accustoming his mind to the divine light. Later in his life, Plato may have retreated from his doctrine on the eternal forms or ideas, but they became crucial to many monotheists when they tried to express their conception of God. These ideas were stable, constant realities which could be apprehended by the reasoning powers of the mind. They are fuller, more permanent and effective realities than the shifting, flawed material phenomena we encounter with our senses. The things of this world only echo, participants in, or imitate the eternal forms of the divine realm. There is an idea corresponding to every general conception we have, such as love, justice, and beauty. The highest of all forms, however, was the idea of the good. Plato had cast the ancient myth of the archetypes into the philosophical form. His eternal ideas can be seen as a rational version of the mythical divine world, of which mundane things are the merest shadow. He did not discuss the nature of God, but confined himself to the divine word of the forms. Through the occasional, it seems that the ideal beauty or the good does represent a supreme reality. Plato was convinced that the divine world was static and changeless. The Greeks saw movement and change as signs of inferior reality. Something that had true identity remained always the same, characterized by permanence and immutability. The most perfect motion, therefore, was the circle, because it was perpetually turning and returning to its original point. The circling celestial spheres imitate the divine world as best they can. Are they spheres or are they flat surface things? This utterly static image of divinity would have an immense influence on Jews, Christians, and Muslims, even though it had little in common with the God of Revelation, who is constantly active, innovative, and in the Bible even changes his mind, as when he repents of having made man and decides to destroy the human race in the flood. There was a mystical aspect of Plato which monotheists would find most congenial. Plato's divine forms were not realities out there, but could be discovered within the self. In his dramatic dialogue with the Symposium, Plato showed how love of a beautiful body could be purified and transformed into an ecstatic contemplation or theoria of ideal beauty. He makes Diotima, Socrates' mentor, explain that this beauty is unique, eternal, and absolute, quite unlike anything that we experience in this world. The beauty is, first of all, eternal. It neither comes into being nor passes away, neither waxes nor wanes. Next, it is not beautiful in part and ugly in part, nor beautiful at one time and ugly at another, nor beautiful in this relation and ugly in that, nor beautiful here and ugly go there, as varying according to its beholders, nor again will this beauty appear to the imagination like the beauty of a face or hands or anything else corporeal, or like the beauty of thought or science, or like the beauty which has its seat in something other than itself, be it in a living thing or the earth or the sky or anything else whatsoever. He will see it as absolute, existing alone within itself, unique, eternal. In short, an idea like beauty has much in common with what many theists would call God. Yet, despite its transcendence, the ideas were to be found within the mind of man. We moderns experience thinking as an activity, as something that we do. Plato envisaged it as something which happens to the mind. The objects of thought were realities that were active in the intellect of the man who contemplated them. Like Socrates, he saw thought as a process of recollection, apprehension of something that we had always known but had forgotten. Because human beings were following fallen divinities, the forms of the divine world were within them and could be touched by reason, which was not simply a rational or cerebral activity, but an intuitive grasp of the eternal reality within us. This notion would greatly influence mystics in all three of the religions of historical monotheism. Plato believed that the universe was essentially rational. This was another myth or imaginary concept of reality. Aristotle, 384 to 322 BCE, took it a step further. He was the first to appreciate the importance of logical reasoning, the basis of all science, and was convinced that it was possible to arrive at an understanding of the universe by applying this method, as well as attempting a theoretical understanding of the truth. In the 14 treatises known as Metaphysics, the term was coined by his editor, who later put these treatises after the physics, meta, ta, physica, Greek. He also studied theoretical physics and empirical biology. Yet he possessed profound intellectual humility, insisting that nobody was able to attain an adequate conception of truth. Hashtag truth matters, Todd. Dun, dun, dun. But that everybody could make a small contribution to our collective understanding. There's been much controversy about his assessment of Plato's work. He seems to have been temperamentally opposed to Plato's transcendent views of the forms, rejecting the notion that they had a prior independent existence. Aristotle maintained that the forms only had reality insofar as they existed in concrete material objects in our own world. Despite his earthbound approach and his preoccupation with scientific fact, Aristotle had an acute understanding of the nature and importance of religion and mythology. He pointed out that people who had become initiates in the various mystery religions were not required to learn any facts, but to experience certain emotions and to be put in certain disposition. Hence, his famous literary theory that tragedy affected a purification or a catharsis of emotions of terror and pity that amounted to an experience of rebirth. The Greek tragedies, which originally formed part of a religious festival, did not necessarily present a factual account of historical events, but were attempting to reveal a more serious truth. Indeed, history was more trivial than poetry and myth. The one describes that what has happened, the other what might. Hence, poetry is something more philosophic and serious than history, for poetry speaks of what is universal, history of what is particular. There may or may not have been a historical Achilles or Oedipus, but the facts of their lives were irrelevant to the characters we have experienced in Homer and Sophocles, which express a different but more profound truth about the human condition. Aristotle's account of the catharsis of tragedy was philosophic presentation of the truth that Homo religiosus had always understood intuitively, a symbolic, mythical, or ritual presentation of events that would be unendurable in daily life can redeem and transform them into something pure and even pleasurable. Let's see. Aristotle's idea of God had an immense influence on later monotheists, particularly on Christians in the Western world. In the physics, he had examined the nature of reality and the structure and substance of the universe. He developed what amounted to a philosophical version of the old emanation accounts of creation. There was a hierarchy of existences, each one of which imparts form and change to the one below it. But unlike the old myths, in Aristotle's theory, the emanations grew weaker the further they were from their source. At the top of the hierarchy was the unmoved mover, or what we would think of as God, which Aristotle identified with God. This God was a pure being, and as such, eternal, immobile, and spiritual. God was pure thought at one and the same time, the thinker and thought engaged in an eternal moment of contemplation of himself, the highest object of knowledge. Since matter is flawed and immortal, there is no material element in God or the higher grades of being. The unmoved mover causes all the motion and activity in the universe, since each movement must have a cause that can be traced back to a single source, which he activates the world by a process of attraction. Since all beings are drawn toward being itself, man is in a privileged position. His soul has the divine gift of intellect, which makes him kin to God and a partaker in the divine nature. This godly capacity of reason puts him above plants and animals as body and soul. Man, that goes back to the debate today, huh? Let's see. This godly capacity of reason puts him above plants and animals. So that was, part of the discussion today with Jim Bob. As body and soul, however, man is a microcosm of the whole universe, containing with him the basis materials as well as the divine attribute of reason. It is his duty to become immortal and divine by purifying his intellect. Wisdom, or Sophia, was the highest of all human virtues. It was expressed in contemplation, theoria, of philosophical truth, which, as in Plato, makes us divine by imitating the activity of God himself. Theoria was not achieved by logic alone, but was a disciplined intuition resulting in an ecstatic self-transcendence. Very few people are capable of this wisdom. However, and most can achieve only phronesis, the exercise of foresight and intelligence in daily life. Despite the important position of the unmoved mover in his system, Aristotle's God had little religious relevance. He had not created the world, since this would have involved an inappropriate change in temporal activity. So it would have slowed him down, I guess. Everything yearns towards him. This God remains quite indifferent to the existence of the universe, since he cannot contemplate anything inferior to himself. He certainly does not direct or guide the world, and can make no difference to our lives, one way or the other. It is an open question whether God even knows of the existence of the cosmos, which has emanated from him as the necessary effect of his existence. The question of the existence of such a God must be entirely peripheral. Gods of convenience. Yeah. Aristotle himself may have abandoned his theology later in life. As men of the axial age, he and Plato were both concerned with the individual conscience, the good life, and the question of justice in society. Yet their thought was elitist. The pure world of Plato's forms or the remote God of Aristotle could make little impact on the lives of ordinary mortals, a fact which their later Jewish and Muslim admirers were forced to acknowledge. In the new ideologies of the axial age, therefore, there was a general agreement that human life contained a transcendent element that was essential. The various sages we have considered interpreted this transcendence differently, but they were united in seeing it as crucial to the development of men and women as full human beings. They had not jettisoned the older mythologies absolutely, but reinterpreted them and helped people rise above them. Rise above. We're going to rise above. For those Black Flag fans. At the same time as these momentous ideologies were being formed, the prophets of Israel developed their own traditions to meet the changing conditions, with the result that Yahweh eventually became the only God. But how would irascible Yahweh measure up to these other lofty visions? Whew. Chapter 1 was a bear. It didn't help I was sick reading on the first two we did. So how's everybody doing? I just want to preview this. I don't know how much Jeff's planning on doing, but it was hilarious. So let me pull this up. Still breathing. I'm bereft of breath. Still recovering. Sorry, I'm looking for when it all falls apart. I slept in the field more times than at Polk than he was there. Think I'm afraid of a bear? It got to be 101, but I'm inside. It was hot here today. I can't imagine 101, but it's a dry heat, right, Mrs. Metcalf? All right, let's see. Stop screen. Shake screen. Like, so like it's like being Sylvia Plath, right? I'll leave that as an inside joke for those that know.
I said it is a
Ugh.
joke. I would not argue that it is not.
Rainstorms are coming in tonight here, so
like when you have the ability to
All
make
right.
a choice. But they make a lot of decisions like all day long and throw temper tantrums.
so
over them.
angry. Such an angry elf.
I'm not sure exactly where he.
Yeah, but see,
was
the problem
really-
is gifts can be given by humans and rights can only be given rightfully by a higher power.
No,
And
rights are
poor
given by-
Justin wants to get words in, so he's gonna get his one on.
He was. He spent like 5 hours
Dustin
on.
pays for his own one-on-one. Wow.
But wait, if y'all
Dustin,
hadn't
you could
seen
pay
this,
me $20 on my streams to do one-on-one too. You know.
But
Well,
I mean, girl-
I have a hard time with your Bob chats. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's possible.
He has a hard time figuring out how to donate to your Bob chats. That's what
I'm retarded. That's entirely possible. Or it's also my phone. I've been working on that. Either way. So clarification. So the king established prima nocta, did he not?
Who?
Huh?
Who's the king?
I mean, this prima nocta is. If there's a marriage underneath their jurisdiction, They have the right to come and claim the first night nuptials.
How's that different than a marriage?
Well, my question
That's
is
not
that
what
not an
I'm
established
looking
right?
for.
Well, that's the thing is like if you marry under a Christian paradigm, you're marrying and the wife and the husband are under the assumption that that there are marital duties at that point.
No, bro, he doesn't understand. Jim Bob doesn't understand. He's saying that the king has the right to bed your woman the first night to do the nuptials, as it were. He's not. He doesn't understand. Yeah. Seems pretty clear he doesn't understand.
Sorry, y'all. I'm doing this on the fly.
Correct. So then the marital duty is established by a right, by a lordship to come in and take the consummation of the marriage?
By the way, this example, can you give a historical justification for its existence, or did you just make it up?
No, I'm making this up. The whole Latin word is something I pulled right out of my butt. No, the prima nocta is a real thing.
Okay, I'll be back here
The word
shortly.
unicorn exists, Dustin. Does that mean a unicorn's real because the word unicorn exists?
No, but so is God. The word God exists.
All right, I gotta stop you right there, Jim Bob. You're actually in error. Unicorns do exist in the Bible. They're basically they're considered to be rhinoceri or the rhinoceros species. So the term unicorn does exist in the Bible.
Why are you asking me a question, dude? You came in and said we got to discuss rights, and now you're asking me about odds. What is a right, dude? What's an odd? Oh my gosh, I'm not.
Yeah,
playing this game.
exactly. A metaphysical concept. Give me some better, Brick.
Concept.
Give me some better. Give me more.
Do you guys? I asked a
Do you
question.
know what a metaphysical concept is, Jim Bob?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a metaphysical concept.
That's great. That's a category. What is a right?
It's not a thing. It's an idea. How about
Is
that?
a tree a
It's an
metaphysical
idea.
concept?
A tree is an
That's great.
actual
What
object.
distinguishes a tree from a right,
There's
Clay?
objective truth as to what
That's
a
great,
thing
Clay.
is.
Listen to me.
Okay?
If
Do we know what
listen to
that
me,
is?
listen to me very closely.
Bob,
Clay.
that's not a rhetorical question, buddy.
Listen, Clay. If a tree is a
didn't write-
metaphysical universal concept and a right is a metaphysical concept, please tell me, from your view, what's distinguishing a tree from a right?
A tree is actually a word that we describe a real object.
So it has a referent. Is that fair to say?
It's a referent. Right?
Cool. What other than a set of permitted behaviors from a government that determines you can do this and you can't do this? What other than that is the referent for a right, sir?
Law.
That is literally what I just described, dude. Other
Okay.
than a set of permissions that you can and can't do, aka law, what is a right?
It's a law.
Dude, other than a set of permissions,
So
aka
you
law,
can't accept the definition of a law.
I said other
Is it a
than
law?
law.
No. I
Is
only
law
go by
force?
a law.
Is
It's
law
a type
force?
of law.
Great.
It's a
Is
type
law
of-
force?
Not all of it.
Law's not force, everybody.
Not all of
In the
it.
chat.
Not
Let's
all
get
of it.
L's in the chat.
Yeah, like what happens when you break a law? Weren't you guys just arrested like a week ago? What's up, MTG Hillbilly? How's it going? Good to see you. Weren't they just arrested like a week ago? Oh, it's so bizarre. Because it was perceived that they were breaking a law. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Law's not force, everybody.
It's not all of
Law's
it.
not force.
I'm just trying to work on a new deck, chat. So I'm working on a new deck here, trying to see if I can play test it, make it into something.
Not all.
Right now, I'm
Oh,
struggling
all
on
laws
mana.
are based
Oh,
on
now
force.
some law is force.
Some laws are based.
Oh, 1 mana, chat. I would have won.
Aren't based on force.
the
Fucking
ones
bullshit,
based
dude.
upon peace.
Oh, I hate this shit.
That's force is peace. What are you talking about?
No, force is not peace. That
How do you
goes
make a
into
law
opposite
based on
spectrum.
peace? Give me one example of a law based on
and
peace.
Force.
Give me one law based on peace, please.
One law based.
One
on
law.
It's funny how all this is coming up after Andrew's debates about use of force and how that creates law and society and control.
Law based on peace that's not enforced with force.
Sorry
please.
about the language, chat.
one law that's based upon
One law. Don't try to give yourself time. One law that's based on peace. That's not completely and explicitly dependent on
Wait,
force.
why is all this in here still?
That's
Damn it.
dependent on force.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, dude.
How? How?
What do you mean? Free speech you're talking about?
Speech. No, just speech. Just speech. Just
What do you mean
talking.
speech? If you
Talking.
say something,
World B Day, huh?
you say something and you say the wrong thing, you get arrested, right?
No.
Yes. If I
No.
make a threat to someone,
This just happened to you, Brick. Brick, you just got arrested. You and Let's just both got arrested. Or at least that's what you claim to be. Detained, arrested, right? For saying the wrong thing. Getting ready for a SFT podcast. I don't know what that is. I don't know what an SFT podcast is. Oh, super fast tortoise. Oh, got it. Gotcha. Okay, well, this ain't gonna work. Hold on. Actually, that can work. So what do we got? We got 20 lands. Let's see something here real quick. Ooh, I know what I need to put in here.
No, that's that Jim Bob guy, the new guy that Todd's in love with, the guitar player. And yeah, his hypocrisy knows no bounds. all of these all of these Christians are use such language as they're espousing how much of a representative of Christ they are. That's why I wanted to share it. It's really, really gross. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best arbiter of that anyway. What's up, Bill M? What do you mean the rules change when it's y'all? Them? Brick, Jimbo, or Toddler. There's a Finkel's even there. Finkel's giving money, so.
Betrayal. And let's go here. There it is. Okay, we got that in there now, chat. Take one of those out. We'll take one of those out. So we still need more land, chat. We're at 23 lands. Okay, let's see.
Yeah. We don't care about your game.
There it is. Like, if we did, then the centuries broke the law. If what? If you did what? If you did what, Clay? If you did what? Then the centuries broke the law. Dude,
Centuries.
he's pointing out to you what just happened. Force is the only thing that creates law.
One,
Oh,
dude.
no.
What happens? What happens when you break God's commandments? You send yourself to hell. Now, you're not going to go there willingly, so it's going to require some external, right? It's going to require some external force to put you in hell, because you're sending yourself there technically, but God's going to put you there, right? It's literally in your own thumbnail, bro. So now it wasn't an arrest. How many times have I heard you with your own mouth say, what? What have you said? A detainment is a form of arrest. A detainment is a form of, now you're walking back from that, dude. Really? Really, dude? Come on, bro.
If I make a threat to you, that's this dude's such a sophist, dude.
Not in
If
this
I make
country.
shut up, dude. If I make a threat,
What I gotta shut up for?
Clay.
What,
if
are
I
you
make
gonna infringe
Clay,
upon my right?
Clay,
Talking about a sophist after we just got done reading about some Greek philosophy.
Clay, listen, you're getting.
Now, here's the interesting thing. Now, Chuck from Tennessee paid $20 to force you off the panel. Right? Don't have a fucking go at me, Brick. Don't fucking have a go at me, bro. Don't fucking have a go at me, bro. You're going to lose on that one. I promise you'll lose.
You're totally fucking cooked right
My
now.
lawful ability.
You know
to
you're getting
work.
cooked.
No,
If
I'm
I
not.
make a
I'm
direct
not.
threat to, dude,
I choose
if
peace.
if I make a direct
You
threat,
choose force. I choose
shut
peace.
the fuck up for a second. If I make a
You're not being very peaceful by interrupting.
direct threat to somebody, right, and it's documented, is that met with force?
It can be.
Will it be met with force, dude? You
Not every
nonsense
time.
machine. Get the
Not
fuck out.
every
I'm done with this
time.
guy. Get him, if
I'm
he's not going
sorry.
to engage,
I didn't realize
if
that
he's
you
not
couldn't
gonna
actually have a
engage,
conversation
you're
about
not
what rights
engaging.
are.
You're
It's
not
a
engaging.
legal concept.
That's
in this
based by
country.
force. What is legal? That's not based on force.
It's a legal concept. Based
What's
on,
legal? What's legality without force, dummy?
in this country?
What's legal without force?
God.
God's not a legal
God.
term.
Oh, you don't
dude.
like God? Mock God. Go ahead,
God's
mock
not
God.
a legal term, you
Mock
Jew.
God. Go
What are you, a
ahead.
Jew? Are you a
You
Jew?
mock him.
Are you
You
Jewish?
mock him.
Are you Jewish?
God is
Are you
the
Jewish?
God.
All right, so we're going to stand by here.
Well, yes, I am. Multiple. Yes, he trained him up in the way he should go. That's why he's. Could it be in the ways of? Yeah, he threw in the Jew word. Oh, it gets worse.
Because I want to show you something. right here. Let me do this real quick. Let's do this. Where the hell did it go? It's literally right up over here. Copy. Paste. Why is it showing up here, but not over here? Did that just get taken down? All right, hold on. All right, so we're going to do this real quick. We're going to go, let's go here. And then we're going to go properties. Let's see if I can do this. I don't think I can do this. I'm literally, okay, hold on. I'm just going to take a screenshot. All right, so I got a screenshot. There we go. We'll do this right here. We'll cancel this. And we'll continue to listen.
Ask
is
me-
love.
answer the
God
question.
is the
Are
force.
you Jewish?
You don't understand that by
Are
now?
you a-
Aren't
are
you
you
a
Jew-
morpho, bro?
Are you Jewish?
Dude, you're a nonsense machine. Jim Bob nor you want to hear me, so whatever. Go fuck yourself. How about that, Brick? How about that? You're a bad faith actor, Brick. I told you, man, that shit wasn't gonna fucking turn out like you thought it was gonna turn out. You want to act like a fucking cunt, Brick? I'll fucking treat you like a fucking cunt. I got no fucking problem with that. What do you mean? No one's here.
He's an angry elf. Angry elf. Hey, Cap, how you doing, bud? Yeah, please lick those thumbs. Trying to get to that 25, honey. Yeah, Bill. It's funny how there's one common denominator, right?
Hearing you. It's a very simple concept, bro. You got forced into handcuffs. Well, at least Let's did. Do you think he volunteered to be in handcuffs? I don't think so. All right, let's go. Let's edit this in Paint. And now you want to come into my fucking channel acting like a fucking asshole to me? I'm the only motherfucker that's showing you fucking respect, Brick. And you shit over people on my channel that I have fucking respect for. You take a fucking giant shit on fucking people on my channel, Brick, that I actually have respect for. That's why you lost your fucking wrench, because you're a grown-up fucking infant. And to give you a fucking wrench, Brick, means that you're just going to start deleting people that you don't agree with because you don't like the words that they're saying, Brick. It shows a very sophomoric ability on your part to fucking regulate yourself, Brick. That's your fucking problem. Here's the fact, dude. I'm not couch surfing in life, Brick. I don't have to find another fucking man to take me in, Brick. You do. So while you're sitting here acting like you got fucking life all fucking figured out and everyone else around you, Brick, is a fucking retard but you.
He's got Brandy to take him in. He's got a woman. Which is fine. Which is perfectly fine unless you're him. How many times has he divorced? Yeah, another Brick divorce. I mean, he talks about my marriages. Good grief. He marries the same person over and over. What, Billiam? Can I get a wood?
Take a fucking look in the mirror, buddy. My fucking shit's sorted. My life's fucking sorted. It's simple and it's fucking plain, but guess what it is? It's sorted. Are you listening to respond, Brick? Or are you fucking listening to hear what I just fucking said to you? Tell me on the dolly, show me on the dolly where the fucking truth hurts you. Is it true or is it false, buddy, that you have to rely on another grown man in order to fucking not be homeless? Is it true or fucking false based on your fucking life decisions, Brick? You are exactly where you fucking are, and you run around pointing your finger at everyone else like somehow you're a fucking victim, Brick. Like somehow you're a fucking victim. Guess what, you cocksucker? The shit you fucking said about the military, yeah, it did have an effect on my wife, who's got a fucking father who served, a husband who fucking served, and a brother who's currently serving. And for you to fucking talk like that, sitting right next to another dude that wore that fucking uniform, Brick, and to be that disrespectful, saying he had nothing else going on in his life, that he had to fucking join the military. Who the fuck are you, Brick? Who the fuck are you? Why didn't you join the military, Brick? See, you're no different than those fucking bitch fucking women that like to wear the rank and the uniform of their husbands or their fathers, right? You're no fucking different, dude. You fucking didn't serve.
It's funny he said the husbands and the fathers right after he said her father served and he served. So I wonder.
You fucking didn't serve. But you want to run your little
Doesn't
cockholster about fucking people who did serve, Brick? Man, fuck you. How about that? Now, I did wear a uniform to fucking protect your right to say these fucking horrible shit to people that I actually have a little bit more respect for, obviously. I wore a uniform so you could be a repugnant little fucking piece of shit, and that cock fucking holster can fucking run its fucking mouth about fucking military people and a concept you really don't have a fucking clue about, Brick. But now I'm going to use my fucking First Amendment right, and I hope you'll fucking sit there and be a little fucking First Amendment purist and not a little fucking pussy and fucking take it. Take the fucking truth, Brick. The truth is, you're a fucking malingerer, Brick. You're a perpetual fucking victim, Brick. You're always going to be a victim. You blame people that got their fucking life sorted and fucking figured out, Brick. Yeah? You act like they're the fucking evildoers while you fucking couch surf your way through fucking life, dude. I've known people like you, Brick. You just leave a bunch of human wreckage in your past, right in your wake, Bo, and you move on to the next fucking thing. You're a fucking parasite, Brick. That's what you are. You're fucking parasitical, Brick. Have fun being a fucking panel whore. No one fucking respects you, Brick. No one respects you. And the one motherfucker that showed you fucking any kind of respect, you like to have a go at me, don't you, Brick? You like to constantly have a fucking go at me, don't you, Brick? I was fucking embarrassed for Let's, man. And I will tell you this too, Brick. You're a fucking bad influence on that man. That man's got his whole fucking life in his rearview mirror. He lives in a nice neighborhood. He's got a wife. He's got shit going for him. He's got a nice house. And along comes Brick. Now he's been arrested twice. Twice he's been arrested since you've been directly in his orbit. You don't give a fuck about him. You don't give a fuck about him. I'm gonna take a wild guess, and I'm gonna guess, Brick, that Let's has probably never been arrested before in his life. But there you are, like a little fucking junkyard dog, getting them all fucking fired up. You don't have any respect for Let's. You don't have any respect for the fact that the thing that keeps you from being out in the fucking elements is that man's roof. You don't respect Let's. You have no respect for Let's. You certainly don't have any respect for the military and for the men and the women that do sacrifice and serve, Brick. But you act like you know what the fuck the military is about. You don't know fucking shit, dude. You're the most clueless motherfucker on the face of the earth, Brick. Yeah. I hope you're fucking hearing my words, and I hope you're championing my right to fucking say what the fuck I'm saying. Because hashtag truth matters, Brick. I fucking warned you, dude. I fucking warned you, Brick. I warned you. It's not going to look the way you think it's going to look, dude. It's not going to be a good look. But listen, if Muppet's going to Muppet, go Muppet, bro. You don't need my permission to be a Muppet. I'm literally looking at your, here, let me edit this in Paint. Let me look at your thumbnail, right? I'm literally looking at your thumbnail. It says, arrested, stop resisting. Arrested, all caps. Arrested. So were you arrested or not? Were you arrested or not, Brick? It's your fucking thumbnail. So were you lying then or are you lying now? Is this just fucking clickbait, Brick? Was it true then? Is it true now? Are you fucking moving the goalpost? Are you a good faith actor, Brick? Huh? Oh, because I disagree with you. I'm just listening to respond. I'm not actually hearing the bullshit coming out of your fucking mouth.
Didn't Brick's dad serve for like 30 years or something? 20 something, and then federal service for I think a total service of over 30 years. I don't know. That's just me. I know he's spoken on it on several occasions.
Oh, because I'm calling you on your bullshit. I'm only listening to respond. Go fuck yourself, Brick. Turn the fuck around and fuck yourself again. How about that, Brick? Stop fucking this man's life up. This man, I don't know why he's fucking following you around. You're over there barking like some kind of retarded junkyard fucking dog. Like, show me your papers. Nazi Germany. Dude, you don't know shit, bro. You don't know fucking shit. Hashtag adult, man. An adult, your age. What are you, in your 40s?
Hashtag adult. Coded. Misreads and mispronunciations, that's fine. Kidney stones they hurt really bad and make me lose my breath. My eyes get tired. But that, whatever, coded. Go park a car.
40s? In your 40s, Brick. Why aren't you living in your own domicile?
Thank you, G2. G2 meat gazer. Generally specific. And you talk about me being obsessed with you. That's okay. That's okay, buddy. It's all okay. Oh. Todd. Yep. That's right. Do you know what G2 means? I thought you were in the army. I thought you served. I thought you put your life on the line, Todd. It's not just my initials, stupid. Let's listen to you break down a little more, you insane little hobbit.
Why haven't you started your own fucking family? What the fuck's going on, bro?
Oh.
Seriously, what's going on? Why are you alienating everyone? Why? What's
G2 is literally brigade and above intelligence. You stupid little fob.
Is there something up there, bro? You say you should give the crazy person in the corner more time to speak. Well, I'm speaking to you now, Brick. Are you listening to hear or are you listening to respond, Brick? Go fucking get help, dude. Go get some fucking help. You need fucking help, Brick. That's what you fucking need. You need some
And your beard looks dirty and gross. And the knots and you trying to do this Viking thing now that your Italian and Greek stuff is played out. I lived a sheltered life. Oh man, I saw more shit in one trip outside the wire than you ever saw in your whole career, even on the DMZ, locked and loaded. Yeah, I know the DMZ was a tense place. Been there. Wasn't stationed there. Been there. I was doing some shit.
fucking help, Brick. You fucking turn on the one motherfucker that has absolutely gone out of his way to back you. I fucking put that shit up on my fucking... I posted that on my community page, Brick. So even though I found it absolutely repugnant what you were saying. Because I tried...
I'm not self-conscious about my height, my small feet. Oh, you got me. I didn't have to go find a 17-year-old at the mall. And you still couldn't get her to marry you until after you had a baby and couldn't get on welfare. Dang, Todd. You're such a winner.
Tried to respect.
You've divorced Brick. Oh, my reading was atrocious today, Coded. Thought it was bad the other day. My eyes were tired, though, from working a real job, since 5 o'clock this morning. But, you wouldn't know anything about that.
Your First Amendment rights. But you come in here all bad faith and try to fucking equate me to someone that you had an argument with as you're literally chittering like a fucking monkey in a tree, flinging shit down on everyone else, claiming that no one's listening to hear, they're just listening to respond. There you go, Brick. How's that fucking feel?
Oh, so much. A publicly available document, just kind of like the publicly available documents that I get, right, Todd? All the publicly available documents I have. If I decide not to continue it, then maybe, yeah. That's all good. What kind of job do you have? Duct Tape Productions? Do you play games all day? You can do whatever you want to do. You're free to, Todd. A private road in a very country spot. Let people try. Got an alligator that has some nice teeth too now. But, do whatever your butt can handle, Todd. I know you wouldn't leave Kentucky. Oh, and by the way, Georgia has some very good doxing laws, Todd.
How's your ass, Brick? How's your ass? You need some butt cream now, Brick?
Oh, it is, Todd. Internet is for everybody. Remember that. Thump, thump. Oh, dang. Thump, thump.
You need some fucking butt cream, Brick? How's your ass, Brick? That shit can fucking receive a watermelon now, huh?
Aren't you an ortho, bro?
Are you Jewish?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter. 100% matters. So now I got a lot of fucking questions.
Looking at that nose,
There
and
is
I'm
but one
thinking,
God.
Wait, y'all make fun of me for being married 3 times, and you say my only shot of getting some is Angel? That don't make sense. I've convinced 3 women to marry me. Not unless you're going to be in Albuquerque, GS. That's where I'm going to be, working a job.
I'm
Does not
thinking,
matter what.
I don't know where you get that I ever said I was going to be there.
What? I'm just a man, dude.
you just
We've
said
already
God
been
is
through
legal.
this.
You just
Finkel coming in with a hot take. Ackley Foundation, one press. I know why you didn't serve. It's because you can't read the sign at the Air Force Base that says that all are subject to search.
said God is legal.
And what did I say in the little? What did I say in the little chat?
I mean, I don't have to grow a beard to hide jowls, Todd. Pretty nice jawline. Anyway, let's listen
there. I said to you very
crazy
clearly,
person breakdown.
It is called post privileges for a reason. Now, here's the funny thing, Brick. You got Letz's life. He gave you a roof over his head. He's giving you fucking food in your belly, and you thank him by not being able to stay the fuck out of trouble, Brick. Now, every time I turn around, Letz is threatening to sue everyone in the world, just like you, bro. How are you benefiting that man? That man should be relaxing, and he should be enjoying his time with his wife. He should be enjoying his retirement. And you're over there stressing him out.
Yeah, Coded, are you loyal to your wife? Are you? I don't care what you think, Todd. Once they realize I'm covering you, the views will go up. They'll fast forward past my boring reading and laugh at you having a mental breakdown. Are you okay, buddy? Do you need to talk to somebody? Is life not treating you like you want it to?
Oh, the dude's heart is gonna fucking explode because he's trying to back your play, dude. You're a fucking blight. You're a cancer, Brick. You're a fucking cancer. That's what I think. You're a chaos agent, Brick. You're a chaos agent. You evoke Christ. You evoke God, and then you change the definition of what God is, Brick.
All I hear is a crazy person.
When you talk about God, it is absolutely not the same God that I worship.
Yeah, yours is Baal or Marduk. Literally.
It's not even close, bro. So when he's asking you if you're Jewish, I'm wondering if you're worshiping Baal or Mela. Or
you're talking about the wrong religion there, Todd.
Or Moloch or Baal. Because we don't worship the same God, bro. You sit there and you say all these scriptures, right? The devil can quote scriptures, Brick, backwards and forwards. Yeah? You're chaos, bro. You're chaos. 1 minute you're calm, and I don't get it, dude.
Todd, buddy, are you listening to yourself? Are you listening? 1 minute you're calm, and then the next minute you're just spinning out. I'm really worried about your blood pressure, buddy.
Take all this fucking abuse from people that can't fucking stand you and have no respect for you. And the very second someone like me has the littlest barest pushback on you, Brick, you fucking lose your shit. So we don't have a fucking friendship, clearly, Brick. I'm going to say this. Let's, if you're listening, bro, I'd fucking keep your head on a swivel. This guy's going to get you put into jail. Likely you might lose some things that you worked really hard for. And I would like to apologize, whether it offended you or not. When Brick said the only people that go into the military are losers, basically. G.I. Joe loser. Hey, fucking retard. G.I. Joe, guess what that's fucking Army. This is an Air Force fucking MP or SP or whatever the fuck they call them in the Air Force. I don't even fucking know. Brick, you have no idea the people you fucking pissed off, man. You have no concept the people you fucking pissed.
Was I trying to align the Jewish faith with the Muslim faith? I mean, keep listening. You'll learn what I'm talking about. I mean, that's the book I'm reading, actually. I don't agree with all the premises in it, but it's a good book. It's a good historical study.
Pissed off with those shenanigans. And I sat there when you showed me that video. And I sat there, Brick, and I warned you. It's not going to be the look that you think it is. It's not going to be. You want to go viral?
Todd, did you know he was going to an Air Force base and try to start trouble?
Motherfucker, congratulations. Congratulations. It's a fucking Faustian deal. You're going to make a deal for a Ferrari that doesn't have a gas tank. Congratulations. You got an expensive lawn.
I could put a gas tank in it. I would take one.
Ornament. Good job, Rick. Good job.
We've already been through this.
Hey,
I
you
believe Christ is king.
just said God's legal.
Yeah.
So legality determines what anything legal is godly.
No.
Once a year for 12 years. Yes.
Not all things that are legal.
Okay, that's a contradiction, dummy.
Not all things.
Well, that's a contradiction, dude.
So here.
Hey, Todd, I will say this again, and I will continue to say it. If you're going to be in Albuquerque, you can find me. I'll be around. That's where I'm going to be because I have a job that I work. funny things you can do after you fractured your back and your neck and had cancer and everything else. Todd. Thank you. I appreciate it. I try.
Here it is, right? So it's a concept that you have a belief in and I have a belief in, right?
Cool.
We have differing beliefs. What's
And?
the problem? Yeah, exactly. You have a right to
Uh,
that.
Well, the problem is objective.
I will be done with child support in about 4 months. No alimony. Try again, son.
Objectively, one person is going to be correct and the other person is going to be in error. Would you not want to know if you're in error? Would you not want to know whether or not you're correct? But look, you sit there with a smile on your face, like you think you're dunking on Jim Bob here. You're not.
I pay my share.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because you wanted to see him make a fool out of himself. Of course. And guess what? Brick's gonna make a fool out of himself.
Yeah, Bill, mine. I've been married 3 times. It's terrible.
Hey, Clay,
It's
we're
a
not just
legal right.
we're
How do you
not
not
just-
understand what a legal right is?
we're not. What makes that legal?
Excuse me, next door to her. Thank you very much. And the cats are mine.
Because nobody can take it from you, dude. Nobody.
What makes that legal?
Nobody.
We're in the wood. Dude,
Nobody can take what from you, Brick? Your freedom? Your liberty? Your life? Nobody? What's coming out of your mouth was refuted with the video you just put out yesterday.
Except
Clay,
God.
focus.
Except for
If-
God.
Focus.
But he
If we're in, Clay, if we're in the woods, dude, shut up. If we're in the woods and there's no law, and I'm free to think
There is
what I
law in the
think.
woods.
Shut
No,
up
no,
for
no,
a
no,
second.
There is law in the
So now he's going to go to nature's law. Nature's law. What appeal does the antelope have when it's in the clutches of the lion? Good morning, GS, Dove, Tim, et al. Good morning, Wally. What appeal does the antelope have when the lioness has it by the neck and it's dragging it off into the wood line or up a tree? What appeal does it have? What law does it appeal to? Nature's law. What justification is there? What tribunal is formed? Brick, according to nature's law.
woods. Don't start out with a bad
Dude.
hypothetical.
If you're in the woods,
Hypothetical.
there's legality in the woods
Yes.
with no force. There's no
God
state.
is still there.
We're back to God is
Yeah.
legal. I already debunked that. Dude.
God is still there.
So whatever's legal is what's godly.
Yes.
Okay, so if we make
Yes.
it legal,
Right now, it's currently legal to have an abortion. And what does Jesus say about that you do to the least of these, you also do to me? So if you visit the widow, if you visit the orphan, if you visit the prisoners, if you show them charity, kindness, and love, you do that for me as well. But also, if you harm the littlest, it is better that you tie a millstone about your neck and throw yourself into the deepest sea. It's millstone time, boys. What you do to the least, you do to me, right?
to genocide people, it's godly.
By man's law? No.
Oh, now what's I'm sorry, what's legality?
Wow.
That's the difference because now you're moving
You are a
from
Jew.
man's law to God's law
Yeah, I think Jabab might be onto something here.
to man's law.
God's
to
law
God's
isn't
law, to
legalism.
man's law. You keep going back and forth.
God-
You did this with old Michael over there, but I'm not falling for it.
God's law, not
Metaphysical
legality,
versus
dude.
physical. Metaphysical versus physical.
Is
You
God's
keep
law
getting, bro.
legality?
I'm talking about peace
Is
versus
God's
force.
law
You just wanna
legality?
accept the peace part. You only want to accept the force part.
Is God
Bro, it's not
what is
mine. I have a choice here.
what is peace without the threat of force?
No, man.
What is peace?
They're
without
great.
threat? No, you can't have. You can't have. You cannot.
Thank you, Cody.
Cannot
What
have.
is peace without the threat of force?
You can't have.
You can't have what? Make full
Both
sentences,
exist
dude.
Together, two things can be true at once.
What? What is darkness if there is no light? What is cold if there is no warmth? What is war? You wouldn't have a concept of war if there wasn't a concept of peace. And in order to establish all of these things, it requires some force. There's a force that creates light. There's a force that creates heat. It's the absence of force that creates the lack of these things, from my understanding, from how I'm looking at it. That's interesting.
So
don't
you would
realize
concede
that,
to my
yeah.
argument then?
I don't concede to anything.
You just
I don't have
conceded.
to, nor will I ever.
You just conceded.
Nor will I.
Yeah, I mean, where's the peace? The end of all peace is the end of all things, right? Peace is the end of all things, right?
Oh, look at you go there, Toddy. Look at you go. Are you gonna just harp on that? I've admitted it. Yes, I'm a horrible reader. Terrible.
Peace is the end of all things. Well, Finkel and I got one thing in common. I sure do like to watch that part. So hold on, guys. I'm going to be a little bit degenerate here. Hold on.
Poor.
I concede to anything.
You just
I don't have
conceded.
to, nor will I ever.
You just conceded.
Nor will I.
Oh yeah, let's have a conversation about this, boys. What do you say? What do you say? Let's have a conversation about this situation here. Brick, bro, if you're still in here, man, you missed the mark. I know you're skulking. I know you're being subversive right now, Brick. Bro, man, you fucking listen, bro. Understand? You fucking came at me out of the side of your fucking mouth, bro. I'm not gonna fucking take that fucking. I don't take that from my enemies. I'm sure shit. I find it more offensive when it's someone that calls me friend that comes at me fucking sideways like that. You said to me very clearly, right in front of Let's. Yeah, I know you're gonna have an opinion about it. Yeah, feel free to have an opinion about it. And the second that I have an opinion, you accuse me of being bad fucking faith, and then you lump me in with somebody that you claim was bad faith too. That I'm listening to respond. I'm not listening to hear. I'm listening to hear, bro. I hear you. I hear you very clearly. I see you. I see you for what you are. There's what you are. There's what you pretend to be, Brick. I let my dogs out. I'll be right back. I'm just, dude, I don't know. You're welcome to have your. Oh, I am. Well, that's really fucking nice of you, Brick. So, you know, you never put on a uniform, put any fucking skin in the fucking game to protect my rights while you shout all over the men and fucking women that do wear that uniform. What the fuck have you done with your life, Brick? What, like, literally, what have you fucking done with your life, Brick? What have you done with your life, Brick? What is your fucking accomplishment? I don't want to hear about what this person has done and what this person and the children this person has and all this other stuff. You like to talk like you're some kind of fucking authority on all things pontificatable. But at the end of the day, you haven't done fucking shit but couch.
You can take that up with her. I mean, I'm not. She can carry her own water. You're just too scared to
surf, dude. You're a couch surfer. You're a professional couch surfer. And if no one's loved you enough to tell,
you're a recliner surfer. In supposedly your own house.
Tell you the fucking truth. Up until this fucking point right now, Brick, I'm fucking telling you the truth. I'm a fucking asshole. I know I'm a fucking asshole, but at least I'm an honest asshole. At least I'm a good faith acting asshole. And you know that I'm an asshole right up front, because what am I going to tell you? I'm a fucking asshole, Brick. But I love you enough to be honest and truthful with you. And I respect Let's enough to tell him, you might want to fucking watch out for you, bro. I think you're a fucking chaos agent. I think you're working for somebody other than my God, the God that I believe in, the God of Abraham,
the way, the truth, and the light.
That's what I think, Rick. I think you're fucking deceived, bro. I think you're your God.
Says them about
I think you're your own God. That's what I think, Rick.
One more time.
This message is sponsored in part by.
And I'll say you're spamming.
He was way out of his league. You shouldn't even be on panels, dude.
Nah, bro, you are.
Not even close,
You
dude.
are.
Way out of your league.
No, you're way out of your league, bro.
Value.
And Brick, you the one started off with legal law and what
Hey,
you
that wasn't
protected,
our
and
brother.
then you switched it to God. You started off one way, you switched
Because
to
he
God.
kept going back and forth.
Hey, you also a little bit fucked
He
up
wants
on
to
that, ain't
Where
you?
his
You just said what's legal
law
is
as the
godly,
only
dude.
law. And I'm just not going to accept his
You don't
law.
even know your argument,
I
dude.
accept my God.
You don't even know what you're arguing.
But
You
this
can
is
have a
this is
problem with
partially
your
why we
God,
try
you
not
can have
to.
him. I
It's not
can't
happening.
answer.
And
talk to Duck.
let
This guy's
me
too dumb to be on the internet.
interrupt. Hold
This
on.
is
We'll
what-
move on. We will move on to Duck here in just a moment. Let me get through a couple more super chats if you don't mind,
God
gentlemen.
is legal.
Pain Zombie Ghosting came in with 10 gifted Jim Bob memberships. Congratulations to all of those lucky lottery winners.
Michael's entire position. Sure. Wait, yeah.
Chat. Don't.
Social. You fuck.
And then.
I forgot how long he's gone.
So I'm going to respond to what you're saying there, Brick. You know, it's interesting. All I hear from you right now is victim, 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 victim. People have a problem with the things that I say. Yeah, they have a right to have a problem with the things that you say. You're not a victim. No one forced you to say those words. No one.
What are you talking about, Coded? That was... Ben Buttercup. What's up, buddy? Aw, you're so sweet, Todd. Thank you for offering to build me a school.
Forces me to say shit that I say either. And guess what happens? I get to be responsible for my words. That's called being a fucking adult, Rick. You don't get to put it on me that you say some fucked up words or do some fucked up actions. You don't get
It was named prior to me getting it. I don't have a problem with that. Do you stay loyal to your wife?
to put it on the cops.
Did I put out the bat signal on Discord?
Because you're doing some fuck shit and you're getting called on your fuck shit. See, you got a crash course, buddy. You get a crash course on force. Nature's law is fucking bullshit. It's about force. Force is the beginning. Force is the end. That's it. That's it. See, here's the thing. The reason why they didn't just start stomping you out in front of the caltrop that they put in front of your vehicle, the reason why they didn't just start stomping you both out in front of that is because they were afraid that there might be other people with more guns and wearing other uniforms that might come arrest them and hurt them or take their freedom away. That's what kept them from doing whatever the fuck they wanted to you in that moment, Brick. But you sit here, gentrified, protected by the same system.
Todd, do you not know what gentrification is? Okay. Besides the 8,500 views I had yesterday, but okay, Todd. Good on you. Yeah, have you ever heard yourself speak coded? Nobody slurs more than you. Really. You're constantly drunk then. Nah, I don't research for idiots.
You continuously rail at and
hey, I saw you starting to back down on your IQ test being the same as an ASVAB. So good on you, Todd. I'm proud. I'm proud of you. Almost. Why do you think about my foreskin so much, Todd? It's really disturbing. I'm beginning to think that I need a protective order for it. Just it. I mean, you can't get into the safe where they're all kept. Oh, coded. I don't. He just hasn't come yet.
shit upon. But you can't even fucking run your own household, Brick. You don't fucking have your own household, Brick. Respectfully, Brick. You're not even hashtag adulting, Brick.
Nah, I'm sure there's much more deserving people than me. But given the percentages, they're probably Jewish, so. Right, O'Sheen? It said O'Sheen, Todd. O'Sheen. You should know that. I don't claim Greek heritage, so reading all those words.
But you're sitting here on your fucking ivory tower casting down aspersions on everyone else, buddy. Like you fucking know everything, dude. What the fuck have you done, Brick? What have you accomplished? What's your accomplishment? You pissed off even the people that supported you the most. You've managed to alienate people that have bent over backwards just to make a flatter surface for you to eventually shit on them, Brick. Congratulations, buddy. You made it. You made it, buddy. You made the big time. You were down here, now you're up here, buddy. You were down here, now you're up here. And I agree. Let's is his own man. He's an adult. He should be able to make his own decisions. Maybe Let's is honky-dory fine with this. Maybe this is excitement in his life that he's enjoying. But I'm telling you, from an outside point of view, every time I've had an interaction with Let's, he's been very respectful. He's been very even-keeled. And the more fucking time he spends with you, Brick, the more irritated he becomes. The more agitated he becomes. The more outbursts he has. Maybe that's always been latent within the man. Or maybe because he's packed up with a fucking mongrel and a junkyard dog who barks at every fucking tin can that gets kicked down a road, maybe you're a bad influence on him. Maybe.
No, just the initial ones, because I was an essential worker who had to, because I was essential to the economy. I bet you have your vaccine. You just lie about it. I don't deny he existed. I'm just saying that his job description is not what you think.
Maybe he's more of an adult and he should be able to handle that business. Maybe he's happy with it. Maybe he's fine with it.
Oh, so your healthcare worker spouse didn't go to work during those times? You're a liar. You both were vaccinated.
I don't know. I don't speak for the man. I don't speak for you. I'm speaking for fucking me. This is my objective observation. You're a bad influence, Brick. And you have this cognizant dissonance. You have this inability to understand how your choices, how your behaviors affect the people around you. And it's fine if you don't care. If you don't care and you're just like me, you're an asshole, you're just going to say the truth. And if it hurts people's feelings, oh fucking well, they just get happy in the same pants they got mad in. That's fucking life. Okay, I can respect that. But you don't get to put the fucking victim card on the table, Brick. That's a very feminine fucking trait. And you're allegedly you're not a female, right? I mean, I don't know. What do you identify as, Brick? I'm just a man. Well, then fucking act like a man. Get your own fucking house. Operate your own fucking life. Stop fucking couch surfing. Become fucking responsible. Stop being a dredge on society, dude. Where's your independence? Someone that acts like a rugged individualist and then has to rely on other people to make their way in life. That's a fucking joke, dude. That's a fucking joke. You know it and I know it. Go fucking look in the mirror. Go look in the mirror right now, Brick, and tell me if I'm fucking lying. Go.
Okay, I am going to stop this here. I need to walk Fanny. And then we will go live on Hill Pirate Studios. We'll continue this over there. See you encoded over there. Bet you won't come, will you, Todd? Bye. Yeah, the cat of the dog world. That doesn't need a leash. He actually stays in the yard because he listens. See y'all over at HPS, guys.